Diving into books about Disney can help broaden your fandom while also helping you discover plenty of incredible stories. In this video, I'll share my favorite books that will help you gain a greater appreciation for Walt Disney the man, the theme parks, and many of the cast members that help make the magic possible. Hey there, Opinioneers. I'm Connor Brown from WDW Opinion, where I help you plan for and daydream about your next perfect Walt Disney World vacation. And listen, there comes a time in each Disney park's fans' life where they are ready to start learning more about the history of the company. It's an evolution of fandom. Learning about the history of the company and the history of how your favorite places and your favorite theme parks were built helps strengthen your love of those parks. If you do want to pick up a copy of one or all of these books, links to grab them are below in the description. First up is Walt Disney, an American Original by Bob Thomas. The first book in a list about Disney has to be a biography about the man that started it all, right? There's plenty of Walt Disney biographies out there, but this is the one that the Walt Disney Company and the Disney family consider and acknowledge as being the premier or the official book about Walt's life. Thomas worked with the company, the family, the Disney archives, and even Walt himself to get this book done. Transcripts, letters, access to past cast members, and even access to Disney family members means this book right here, it's filled with great details. Of course, you get great stories about how the company was built, but you also realize just how incredibly difficult it was for Walt to achieve his dreams. With this book, you'll discover the determination Walt had to make his dreams come true. Next up on the list is Disney War by James B. Stewart. In this book, it's a little saucy, and it's considered to be an expose on the tenure of Michael Eisner when he was head of the Disney company. Now, by far, this is the longest book, whole lot of pages there, but also a disclaimer, it's a very business-heavy book. If you just want to read about the building of the parks or the creation of the films, this book, it does have a lot in there for sure, but much of it focuses on Eisner's leadership style, corporate mergers, and decisions made around corporate structure. So for some, it can definitely be dry at times. But if you can handle all that, this book is fantastic. The company had incredible success under Michael Eisner's 20-year reign. You might only know the story of his exit from the company, which was pretty messy. What this book does is shows you how Eisner, as chairman and CEO of the company, along with his right-hand man, Frank Wells, who was president of the company, how they were able to turn the organization around in the 80s and the 90s. You'll learn of the successes the company had, but you will also discover the turmoil and the tension the company had internally and externally. If the first decade of Eisner's reign can be described as incredibly successful, the second decade of his reign, well, I think we can describe that as incredibly tumultuous. And this book is filled with those bitter internal feuds I mentioned earlier, including those Eisner had with Walt's nephew, Roy E. Disney. But for the parks fans out there, there are some exceptional stories about the Disney decade as Eisner named it. In that Disney decade, it saw huge park expansion. If you want juicy stories about the organization, then this is the book for you. Just keep in mind that because the company creates magic, well, it doesn't always mean it's pixie dust and fairy tales behind the scenes. Next on the list is Fight Club. No, wait a second. That's the wrong list. And I shouldn't even be talking about Fight Club. So we're moving on. The actual next book on the list is Dream It, Do It, My Half-Century Creating Disney's Magic Kingdoms by Marty Sklar. Marty, he's a Disney legend. He started as a cast member just a month before Disneyland opened, and his first job was creating the Disneyland News, which was a 1950s style newspaper that was distributed throughout the park. After that, Marty went on to write scripts for Walt himself, and then he got to move into Imagineering, where he worked on iconic attractions like It's a Small World and the Enchanted Tiki Room. After that, he oversaw the creative development for Epcot in Florida, and eventually Marty would even become the president of Walt Disney Imagineering. This is all to say that Marty, he's got some incredible stories. In fact, he's the only Disney cast member who has attended the opening day of every single Disney park around the world, from Disneyland in 1955 to Shanghai Disneyland in 2016, and every single park in between. This is a book for parks fans, because you're gonna learn inside stories about the building of some of your favorite attractions. His stories, experience, and dedication to the ideals of the company make this book an exceptional read. Okay, next on the list is a book that is gigantic. Some might call it a coffee table book, but any parks fans will love this regardless of its dimensions. Here we go. We got Walt Disney Imagineering, a behind the dreams look at making the magic real. It's very heavy. This is an old version because there's a new version out that's called Walt Disney Imagineering, a behind the dreams look at creating more magic. I put the emphasis on more because that's the only thing that's different in the title, the word more. This book is actually by the Imagineers themselves, but why should you pick up this gigantic book? Well, inside you learn the stories of how some of the most iconic attractions and places in Disney parks came to be, but more so, the rich photography, drawings, and behind the scenes shots would make even the slightest Disney fans geek out. Just take a look at some of these things. Like, look at that. We got some Country Bears, there's Walt, we got some like showcase stuff, we got Epcot, we got, what's that, Disneyland Paris. Just so many incredible designs and, photos. It's just awesome. And the size of this book just makes those images inside pop even more. Those pictures are the reason you should buy this book. It's a great addition for any Disney Parks fans collection. If you want a more extensive look into the building of some of your favorite attractions, you have got to get Reality Land: True Life Adventures at Walt Disney World by David Koenig. This book is fantastic. I love it because it focuses on the building and creation of my favorite place, Walt Disney World. And it starts all the way back when the 47 square miles that we now know of as Disney World, it starts when they were just swamps and forests. You'll learn all the stories about what it took to convert all that land into the most popular vacation destination in the world. You'll discover the mishaps Disney ran into when they opened their first owned and operated hotels, and this even dives into the construction and creation of Epcot Center, which is very cool. Get this book to learn all the ins and outs of the creation of your favorite place and to gain a greater appreciation for what it actually took to build Walt Disney World. Next up is Bob Iger's memoir, The Ride of a Lifetime. Now, I don't currently have this book on my possession because I loaned it to someone and they haven't finished it and then they haven't given it back yet. You know who you are, Mom. So I'll just put a picture of it right here. If you want to learn more about the recent history of the company, this is the book for you. It's more like Disney War, one of the earlier books we talked about, in that it mainly focuses on the business side of things, but still, there's some very cool stories in here, and you're gonna learn the stories about how Disney purchased Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and more recently, 20th Century Fox. Plus, as the head of one of the biggest media brands in the world for 15 years, Bob Iger has some incredible stories to share on leadership that anyone, regardless of their Disney fandom, can benefit from. Pick this up if you're interested in all those big deals and if you want to learn from a very successful and a very smart man. Now, our final book is a shameless plug, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it because it's my book, Yacht Club to Diamond Mine, my journey to working at one of Walt Disney World's most popular attractions. That's right, if you didn't know, I used to be a cast member at Walt Disney World. I worked front desk at the Yacht and Beach Club resorts and as an attractions cast member in the place where a million diamonds shine, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. But if you've ever wanted to know what it's like being a cast member, what the day-to-day looks like, what the backstage area is like, what it's like living in Disney World, or even what it's like making the magic each and every day, then this is the book for you. I loved writing it, and with all the stories and insider information in it, I think you're gonna really love it too. There you have it, my current list of the best books about Disney. But notice how I said current? That's right, this list is always changing as I constantly find myself discovering and reading new Disney books. Because of that, I keep a list of great Disney books on the WDW Opinion website. That list currently includes several books that did not make our list here today, but they're still totally worth a read. You can head over to wdwopinion.com/bestdisneybooks to check it out. What's your favorite book about Disney? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you real soon.